Innovations presents the Midwest #1 independent computer repair company with service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, Papillion, Des Moines, and across the country via the Schrock desk. This is Compute This.
Good morning, folks, and welcome into Compute This. My name's Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. Number to join us on the program today, 888-250-2091. Of course, if you ask a question or make a comment, we'll put you in the drawing for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. Good for anything in the service centers you want. Due to inflation, we may have to increase that gift certificate. I don't know. We're still working that through right now. But as soon as we see, it's the same thing when we try to raise prices. You know, it's really delicate. It's really hard. Like, do we want to do this? I don't know. So, you know, when we increase like giveaways, we have to go through that same process. It's pretty crazy. All right. So Schrock Innovations obviously is your local neighborhood computer repair company with locations in the original in Lincoln, 2 blocks south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Then Omaha, 168th and Burke, just across the street from the Village Point Mall. In Papillion, 84th and Highway 370, next door to us, they're building a new limitless mail clinic. I'm like, yes. But I mean, it's like now we get to. Do you watch who goes in and out of the Limitless Mail Clinic? I don't know. But they're building a new one right next to us, so we're excited to have a new neighbor over there in the Papillion Service Center. Also in Des Moines, 9500 University Avenue, there to service all of your computer needs in the Des Moines Service Center. Guys, just a heads up. This is not a Schrock thing, but this is a pretty much every computer repair shop. This is the slow season. This is that time of year when the number of computers coming in slows down because people are out and traveling, and people are traveling again now. So things slow down a little bit. And if you have a preventative maintenance certificate that you've been hanging on to use, now is an excellent time to bring it in. The turnaround times are fantastic. Normally we check in between 10 or 15 computers a day per service center. Right now we check in between, 3 and 8. So it's roughly 50% the volume, but we have the same number of guys. So the turnaround times are just fabulous. The guys have lots of time to spend with you if you have additional questions or problems with the computer. So all in all, it's a great time to bring your computer into the service center to use up those certificates. Or if you have a nagging situation, or maybe your computer still hasn't installed the 2.1H1 update. That's been out for, almost 3 weeks now. So if your computer hasn't installed that already, it can be an indication that your computer either is not compatible with the update, in which case there are some things that we can do to make it compatible, or Microsoft is not sure if your computer is compatible with that update, and as a result, they're not going to push it to you. The problem is if you get too many versions behind, you lose your updates. You lose your security updates. And I try not to do, oh my gosh, scare your pants off radio shows about computer security. Unfortunately, today's show is going to be a scare your pants off about security kind of show, because how can you ignore the stories that are going on around us right now? So last week, if you missed the program last week, we did a pretty good job of keeping it not so scary last week, right? Compared to last week, this is like the Freddy Krueger show, all right? Last week, we told you about the 2.1H1 update. We reminded you, make sure you've run your safe upgrade software. If you are just now hearing this from me and you missed the phone call and the text message and everything else, make sure you run your safe upgrade software. We did get one of our longtime listeners, Blake, on the radio program contacted me. He's a huge Facebook listener, top fan at one point, I think. And he contacted me because he didn't receive an email about an auto renewal that was happening on his account before it happened. So there is the possibility that sometimes those emails do get scooped away. Sometimes it's not even by the email provider. Sometimes, especially when we send a large number of identical emails, the internet service providers actually skim them before they even get off the ISP network, like Cox will skim them or CenturyLink will skim them. So we're taking some steps there to ensure that doesn't happen in the future. But if you did miss that email, it may not be because you were just, under a rock, for example. It may have actually been that you didn't see the alert. So I want to let you know now that it is time to run your safe upgrade software. If you have not done so already, go ahead and download that from the Schrock Innovations website. Go to you go up to the top right corner, your account, download. The website, for whatever reason, has been running a little bit slower than normal recently. Schrock Interactive is taking steps to do that. This is one of those situations where there's a short-term fix that you can do that will lead to longer-term problems, or you can just fix it right the first time, and it'll take a little bit longer to fix, but then the website will be lightning fast forever. That's the fix that we're using, okay? So it's going to take another couple weeks to really resolve that all the way through, so I appreciate your patience there. 888-250-2091. If you missed the show last week, we did tell you that the 21H1 update was available. We also told you about how India is deciding, well, if Twitter can censor things, if they have the technological capability to so completely and thoroughly censor all thought from one side of the political aisle, surely they could censor a few things that the Indian government wants censored. And Twitter said, no, we don't do that. That's against free speech. You see, can't have that. So India started arresting their executives. Yeah, you can't break the law in India, apparently, and just, thumb your nose at it. There's no First Amendment in India. And so Twitter was alarmed that their executives are being arrested because they can't seem to censor things fast enough for the Indian government. So it's an interesting turn of events there. And, you don't want to ever – here's the problem. You don't want to root for not having freedom of speech, right? But on the other hand, when you've got someone who is a company that is blatantly abusing their Section 230 protections, it's like when that guy on the football field that's always a poor sport, that's always stomping on other people or, yelling curse words and, kids can't hang around him because he's so vile. When he gets pancaked, you never want to see a guy get hurt on the football field. But when he gets pancaked, there's just that little part of you that's like, karma. Karma, gotcha, right there. All right, also on the program last week, we took your calls about an assortment of things. It was actually a really good show for calls. So if you did miss that program, you can check it out on our website at SchrockInnovations.com. You can watch the live video from the show as well. You can watch it on YouTube or on Rumble. We broadcast it in both places. Also, right now, we're live broadcasting the show, Facebook.com/SchrockInnovations, where you can join us here with the other members of Schrockville that are eating their donuts and drinking their coffee and just having a good time with life. So there you go. All right, today coming up on the program, Run Safe Upgrade. It's time to go. Also, today happens to also be the last day for the Surge Protector sale. This is something that you may have missed last week. We didn't advertise this one super heavily. This is pretty much just a radio show promo. We didn't send out any kind of emails. I think we put one Facebook post up about it. Nothing on the website really, aside from just discounting them and putting them on in the specials category. But our Audible Alert Surge Protectors, looking back in history, we have had so far one of the quietest severe weather seasons that on record of all time. In fact, looking forward in the long-term forecast for the next month, there isn't anything that's really, quote unquote, on the radar. See what I did there? There's nothing coming. So the good news here is we don't have a lot of severe weather to deal with. Typically in the past, what we've done is in severe weather season, the same way they promote, your severe weather alert radios during that season, because it makes sense, we promote surge protectors because people in Nebraska and Iowa, people in the Midwest, we have the widest temperature variance of any area of the country. We can go from -20 to 120 degrees in a year. There are some days, as we all know, in these beautiful Midwestern states where you're running your heater and your air conditioner on the same day. So we have a lot of spikes. Most people think of surges and they think lightning strikes or a squirrel jumped on a transformer in Albuquerque and blew up your computer. That's not where most surges come from. Actually, most surges come from you turning on a vacuum. You ever notice the lights get a little dimmer? When you turn off the vacuum, you just created a surge. Using that mixer, my mom would always make fried chicken and mashed potatoes Sunday evenings for dinner. And whenever she'd turn that mixer on, it must have been a beast of a mixer. They don't make them like that anymore. It wasn't this eco mixer. There's no Tesla mixer because the lights would get dim. And then she'd turn it off, and the lights would get bright again. She created a surge. So the whole home surge protection concept of protecting you from surges coming in from the outside, if the sweet baby Jesus sends a lightning bolt down upon your head, there is no surge protector that's going to stop it from catching your house on fire, the raw power of power. However, the majority of the time when you have electronics that fail, it's because of tiny little surges that add up. What a lot of people don't realize is your surge protector has a limited capacity to protect you, measured in joules. The number of joules, once the joules are used up, it's just like regular joules. Once the joules are used up, you don't got no more joules. And then it's just a glorified extension cord. Sometimes your surge protectors will blink. The light will flicker. Sometimes the light will go out. Sometimes there's an alert light. Most of the time, they're just light bulbs or LEDs, and they're not actually anything that represents anything aside from giving you a warning. It's a virtue signaling surge protector, okay? It literally is saying, look at me, I'm protecting you, and it's not. So to be safe, if you bought one that doesn't have an alert mechanism, you pretty much have to replace it once a year. That's why the Schrock Innovations audible alert surge protectors are so popular. They beep or they chirp like a cricket under your desk when they're bad. Of course, like your smoke detector, or your carbon monoxide detector, they only fail in the middle of the night. They only fail in the middle of the night on a day when the next day is a holiday and you can't get a replacement. So I recommend you buy two, so you've got a spare. When it does do that, then you'll be protected. But these surge protectors are the best of the best. Now, the reason we haven't done this sale in a couple years, the reason we haven't done it is because we couldn't get any more. The company that made them literally before COVID ran out of stock. And then, of course, COVID, and now, supply chain, everything else. While I was on vacation, Parker found a honey hole, and we had a conversation about whether we should buy them. They were still audible alert, but the previous ones that we had they had 2,100 joules of protection, which is a lot for a residential surge protector. The new ones, of course, like everything inflationary, only had 1,200 joules of protection. So Parker was asking me, should we buy these? They're roughly the same price for half the protection, and I was like, well, it's better than nothing. They'll still chirp when they're not working. So let's go ahead and get them. And then if we can get as many as we want, we'll go ahead and put a sale on so we can replenish. So we received the surge protectors, and I was in the service center the other day, and I picked one up and looked at it. And sure enough, on the box, it says 2,160 joules of protection. Sure enough, on the unit, it has 2,160 joules of protection. So it sounds like the new ones coming down the supply line are going to have half the protection. But in the meantime, you can pick up ones that have full protection. And they're on sale right now for 25% off at Schrock. They're $44.99. Like I said, you can pick them up on our website. You don't have to come to the service center today if you don't want to. I know basically Saturday we're open from 10 until 8 everywhere. Sunday we're open noon to 5 everywhere except Des Moines. Des Moines is closed on Sundays. Of course, if you go to our website, SchrockInnovations.com, you click on Shop in the top left corner, and you click on Specials, then you can find them there, and you can add. There's no quantity limit. We're going to sell them until we're sold out. We believe we can get more at this point. We just don't know what the joule rating is going to be when we receive them. Is it going to be 1,200 or 2,100? We don't know. So if you want to pick one of those up, they are available for you there at the website as well. 888-250-2091. Ransomware. Also coming up on the program today, we're going to have two stories covering this because we had to. By now, you probably heard about the meatpacking industry and how it was knocked out by ransomware. And you might wonder, how does ransomware stop you from butchering meat? That's a legit question, right? How does ransomware stop you from cutting up a cow? Great question. We're going to answer that one for you. Also, coming up on the program, a huge announcement from Microsoft. This is going to be platform changing. June 24th, they have a big announcement coming. We're going to tell you what's going on with Microsoft. There could be a whole new, completely new version of Windows. Not Windows 10 new version, but remember back when we had Windows 7, Windows Vista, Windows 8, and Windows 10 all at the same time? We could have a Windows 10 and a Windows 11 now at the same time. So this is going to be really interesting. We're going to tell you what to expect there. Also, if you have an Android phone, yet another story about how malware is pushing its way into the app ecosystem to infect your phone. This time, you don't even have to install an app on your phone. You can literally tap a link, and it's enough to infect your phone. I cannot think of a better story to illustrate the need that you need to get antivirus on your phones, and you need to do it quickly. 888-250-2091. Al and Terry, stay on the line. We're going to take our first break. More of the program coming up next on Compute This.
If you can dream it, Schrock Interactive's website developers can make it happen. Refresh your website, automate sales and marketing, and grow your business today with Schrock Interactive. Some people like desktops for their power and upgradability, but nothing rivals a laptop for computing on the go. But why should you have to sacrifice performance for portability? The innovators at Schrock want our customers to have it all, so we created a new kind of laptop, the solid-state laptop from Schrock Innovations. Solid-state laptops are built using the same frame and mainboards as regular laptops, but we've removed half of the moving parts while more than doubling the computer's speed. The result? Laptops that boot to Windows in 6 seconds or less, respond instantly to your commands, and can survive drops that put most laptops into the data recovery lab. Starting at only $499, solid-state laptops give you speed, reliability, durability, and performance for the same price most people pay for a cheap disposable laptop. The next time you're looking for a laptop, check out the solid-state laptops at SchrockInnovations.com or visit any of our service centers. Simple, solid, fast technology is what we do at Schrock. Compute This Pro Tip 299. There are enough mothballed computers in U.S. homes to give one to every man, woman, and child in the country. Many of these computers find their way into landfills where they can leak cadmium, lithium, and other nasty chemicals into the groundwater. Schrock Innovations is very proud of the fact that we recycle more e-waste every year than we create. You can drop off any old or broken computer equipment to our service centers at any time, free of cost. We only charge $15 just for monitors because they are especially difficult to process. No appointment is required, and we accept all computer-related equipment like printers, keyboards, speakers, and accessories. Additionally, the rare earth elements in computers can be recycled right here in the U.S. to reduce our reliance on supplies from foreign countries. Take a moment, drop off your old computer equipment today, and Schrock will make sure it's properly recycled and put to good use right here in the U.S. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back into Compute This. My name is still Thor Schrock, and I'm still the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. And we still have an entire team of people dedicated to helping you out when your computer has a problem, when your technology's not working right, when you need us to secure something for you, your phones, your tablets, your computers, when your hard drive decides to dump its data in a not-so-planned way, we have guys that can get it back. And on top of that, we're also hiring. We're hiring a administrative assistant for the Omaha Service Center. Summer is going to be going back to school because she went to graduate school and then COVID hit and it was weird. So she came back because she didn't have anything else to do. And so we're like, welcome back, Summer. We love you. And then now Summer's going to go back to school again. And we're like, oh, we're so sad to see her go. But we want to get somebody. She's so good at her job. We want to get somebody in there to train under her before she has to leave in August. So we do have a position open. And as with all hiring, as you've heard in so many media reports, we get probably a dozen applications a day. Of the dozen that we get, maybe one is remotely qualified. And that one person, if they do respond for the interview request, they ghost the interview. It's just the way the world works right now. So if you're interested in something like that, definitely take a look at Indeed.com. Take a look at the position, administrative assistant in the Omaha Service Center. And I got a funny story to handle with you here. Now, I don't think Sergey is listening to the radio show yet. But I have a feeling that Sergey may become a character on the show. And I'm not sure if he's cool with that or not. But how cool is it? We hired a new person at Schrock Interactive to help elevate the SEO of our clients. This guy is next level stuff, right? So long story short, I told everyone he's our Russian hacker. He is our Russian hacker, right? Sergey was born in the Ukraine while it was still part of the USSR. And then he immigrated to Canada, and now he lives in San Jose, and now he works for a company in Omaha. Who has a story like that? I mean, that's just amazing, right? So now I have a Venezuelan who's now an American citizen who runs Schrock Interactive, and Sergey, the Russian hacker, makes sure that your websites rank. So I guess, is this like, if you can't beat him, join him thing? I don't know. But either way, this guy is very professional, very intelligent, methodical about how he does things. He created an app for car rentals, basically, where you could, rather than going to each car rental company to find the best deal, he just created like an aggregator app that took all the car rental companies and put them together in one app. It was a brilliant idea. And he was a little frustrated with himself about the app. He says, it wasn't a big deal. And I'm looking at the app and I'm like, dude, you got 100,000 downloads for your first app you ever made. Got 100,000 downloads and you're disappointed? Yeah. It's not hard to get the first 100,000. I was like, wow. I want that guy on my team. It's not hard to get the first 100,000. That's easy. So anyway, we have some things happening over at Schrock Interactive as well as Schrock Innovations. And congratulations to Eli in the Lincoln Service Center, who will be leaving for his honeymoon later this month, Congratulations to Eli and family. They are going to have a great time, I'm sure, at the wedding. 888-250-2091. Let's jump into those phones real quick. Al, welcome to the program. How can I help you on Compute This today?
Well, I got a couple of questions. The first is about ExpressVPN and how much that might slow down my speed.
Yeah. Express, literally, I saw an article. I have it for the after Schrock, actually, because it didn't rise to the occasion of being covered during the show. But since you brought it up, ExpressVPN is the top-rated VPN by ZDNet. They're literally number one. Number two was Surfshark. Number three was NordVPN, not to be confused with Norton. And then IPVanish, Proton VPN were the next two. So ExpressVPN, you are not going to notice any decline in speed whatsoever. However, if you have it enabled while you're gaming, you'll notice your ping goes up because it's bouncing your internet connection off of multiple hosts, basically, which is going to, for a gaming situation, you probably don't want to use a VPN. But for everyday life, you can leave it enabled all the time. The only times I've ever had issues with it, it's really annoying on your phone because the Capital One app requires additional authentication. They must have some IP-based fraud detection. So they do that whole text message verify thing to get logged in, which is kind of annoying. The only other thing is you can't order a pizza with your VPN enabled. Both Papa John's and if you turn on your VPN and go to the Papa John's website, it's like a website from like 2012. It's weird. And then if you try to order from Pizza Hut, they just won't process your payment method until you turn off your VPN, then it'll go through just fine. So there are some quirky things with some websites, but for the most part, from a speed perspective, you're not going to have anything to worry about.
Okay. And the other question that I had was about Google wanting my birth date.
Yes.
They thought about that, and I thought about giving them a bogus date.
You could.
But then
you just got to remember
2 years from now, when they want to validate me and they ask for that date, and I can't remember what I gave them.
You pick a memorable event in history as long as it ages you over 18 years old. Because the reason they want the birth date is because on YouTube, now that they're becoming kind of a pseudo TV station, basically, they have to be aware of their content and and the ages that they're streaming it to. So there is some really inappropriate stuff on YouTube, and they want to make sure that the stuff that's adult themed has an adult rating and is not shown to children. So basically, that's why they want your birth date. If you don't give them your birth date, if you try to watch videos on YouTube that have an age restriction, you will not be allowed to watch them without signing into a Google account.
Okay.
So that was the
good
deal
idea.
Yeah, I mean, how old are you if you put down 9/11? Like, let me see. Let's see. 2001. So what? Yeah, you'd be good to go. That's scary. That's scary. The kids that were born on 9/11 are over 18 now. My goodness. When did I get old? Al, when does that happen to me?
Same time it happened to everybody, I guess.
All right. Thank you for the call, Al. I appreciate you joining us on the program today. 888-250-2091. So how is it that if you run a meatpacking plant, you get hit with ransomware and suddenly people can't come to work and cut meat? Why is that? Here's what people don't understand about a ransomware attack. Everything in the modern business world is integrated. So, for example, your time clock is integrated with your payroll software, is integrated with the production measurement utilities on a line. So literally you can track a person's productivity using, okay, is this person punched in? Where are they at on the line? This is how much that line is producing. Therefore, we can assume that that person is generating an appropriate workflow for what we would expect. They're meeting target goals. The second thing is you've got sanitization systems that are computerized and automated. Anything automated. Your Roomba vacuum stops working if you don't have a stable internet connection. So the challenge that you have whenever you have a business that's impacted, like the meatpacking industry was this week. And the reason I'm bringing this up on the program, the company that got hit, let me get the name right here. I don't want to screw it up. JBS is the largest meat supplier in the world. They have a plant in Grand Island, Nebraska. They have 2 plants in eastern Iowa. So this impacted both Nebraska and Iowa. They were completely shut down, as in people couldn't come to work and couldn't clock in because you can't do verifications. You can't do e-verify because it's e-verify, And you can't turn on your computers, because if you turn on your computers, you don't know if that one's infected and is going to start spreading the ransomware infection to all the clean systems. So you literally have to shut everything down, zero everything out, and start over from scratch. Now, I want you to take a minute and just think about your computer at home. Now, you can't use a backup because your backup got infected unless you have a cold storage backup. So if you have an external hard drive in a drawer, sitting aside in a drawer somewhere, then you're good to go. But if you don't have that, you have to throw your computer out the window, put a brand new computer in. You have to remember all your passwords. There's no saved passwords unless if your documents were saved in like OneDrive or Google Drive, they're all corrupt now too. They're all scrambled up as well. So you don't get those anymore. Your cloud doesn't save you here. You literally have to start over. Now, in your personal life, how long would it take you to start over? Just doing password recoveries, how much time do you think you'd spend in a week? A lot. Now imagine you're a company that has systems that have been working for so long that the people who created the systems don't know how the systems work because they're gone. No one knows why it works. They just know that it works. And if there's a bug or a glitch, everybody knows enough to fix the bug or glitch, but no one has ever had to deploy that system from the beginning. And now you're asking them to do that. Now you can see why they would be down for a week. So ransomware attacks are a real big deal. That's one of the reasons why at Schrock, our corporate service team is currently basically developing training materials for our corporate service clients about how to avoid ransomware and making sure we have incident responses in place for people who are impacted by. If you get hit with ransomware, we got to have a plan in place of how we're going to recover. And if we run through like a war game basically and say, what happens to your business if I pull this plug out of the wall? Well, guess what? Now we have to have a plan to mitigate that. And the Biden administration can't stop this. And there was a tacit admission of that. The U.S. government can't protect you against ransomware. They want to start treating it as terrorism now. Well, we all know there's no more terrorism in the world after fighting the war on terror, so this makes sense. I'm sure there'll be no more ransomware if we start treating it like terrorism. Are we going to bomb, like, servers? Like, what are we going to do here? So anyway, long story short, guys, it's up to you to protect yourselves from ransomware. Number one, make sure you have good antivirus. When we come back from the break, I'm going to tell you the hilarious thing that your Norton LifeLock is doing to try to remain relevant this week. Make sure you've got Secure Update or keeping your third-party software up to date. If you value your privacy, you should have a VPN. If you don't care, it's not a security thing, you're okay. But if you value your privacy, you should have a VPN. You don't click on any links in any email ever sent to you, even from me. You always copy it and paste it in or go directly to the website. So if I sent you an email with a Surge Protector sale link, you don't click the link. You go to SchrockInnovations.com on your own. You go to shop, you go to specials, and you add them to your cart. Because that's how paranoid you have to be now. 888-250-2091, Terry. Hang on the line. Your call is coming up next on Compute This.
Drive Advisor is a free program from Schrock Innovations that monitors your hard drive's health and tells you if it's going bad. Download it for free at driveadvisor.com. In 1798, Eli Whitney's Connecticut musket factory was the first business in North America to use replaceable parts in a firearm. Before Eli's factory, if your musket broke, you had to send it away to an expert gunsmith for repairs, or just toss it and buy a new musket. Technology manufacturing has come a long way since the 18th century, but you wouldn't know it by looking at today's big box store computers. Dell, HP, Sony, and other manufacturers continue to take away your freedom to upgrade and repair your computer by eliminating expansion and repair options. Some desktops are even powered by a tiny laptop adapter. Schrock Innovations believes in Eli Whitney's idea of interchangeable and replaceable components, and that's why our custom-built modular computers last longer and cost less to repair than computers you see at big box stores. Ask your friends and family how often they replace their box store computers, and they'll probably tell you every couple of years. And what do they do with the old machines? They just get thrown out like broken muskets. Imagine a place where your computer's problems can be fixed quickly and inexpensively. Imagine keeping your computer for 6 years or more. You are imagining the kind of computers we build every day at Schrock Innovations. Our modular systems last longer, perform faster, and cost less over the long term than anything you can buy at a big box store. While the talented technicians at Schrock Innovations can't make you a musket even if they tried, our commitment to the freedom offered by modular computers is the modern-day extension of Eli's innovative musket factory. We think Eli Whitney would be proud, and you can take pride in owning a small piece of American innovation. The modular computer from Schrock Innovations. Compute This Pro Tip 843. Of all computer failures, the scariest and most expensive is the hard drive. But there are some steps you can take to save money and save your data before it's too late. Detecting failures early is important, so install a free utility like Drive Advisor from driveadvisor.com to monitor your hard drive's health and receive warnings when there's a problem. But most of all, hard drive failures happen slowly, so early detection is key to reducing the repair bill. Second, if your hard drive makes any unusual noises, immediately turn off your computer and do not turn it on again. These issues are physical problems, and the more you try to use it, the worse the damage becomes. Remember that most computer repair shops do not have the specialized equipment needed to recover data from a failed drive. Never open your drive or allow anyone else to do so. Opened drives always cost more to recover. Schrock does not charge for data recovery evaluations and quotes, so let the local pros look at your drive before you make any recovery decisions. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Fox News, I'm Karen McHugh. The Pentagon staying silent for now ahead of a forthcoming report on unidentified aerial phenomena.
There's no evidence unexplained sightings by military pilots are alien aircraft, but a report from military and intelligence agencies is not expected to offer an explanation either. The New York Times published findings of a government report required by Congress. A public release of an unclassified version is due later this month.
Fox's Jared Halpern. Summer-like temperatures and rain in the immediate forecast for much of the nation.
Going to be a little bit better temperature-wise today. Watching a lot of moisture down across parts of the south once again today. Areas of Louisiana, a little bit of this moisture now spreading in towards Mississippi, Alabama, up towards Tennessee, and towards the Ohio Valley. But we'll continue to see more moisture come in here throughout the day today into tomorrow and the day after as well.
Fox meteorologist Rick Reichmuth. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, the News Radio 1110 KFAB Weather Watch.
We'll see clouds increase from the south throughout the day today, keeping high temperatures in the upper 80s near 90 degrees. Still breezy with winds from the south gusting 25 to 30 miles per hour. We'll drop into the upper 60s overnight, partly cloudy and hot again Monday with a high near 90. With Omaha's most accurate forecast, I'm 6 News First Alert meteorologist Mallory Schnell on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Alrighty, guys, rolling on through the show. It's already halftime. Can you believe it? Make sure you stay tuned today to the Aftershock, guys. There's just so much going on. Now, I already blew up my VPN story for the Aftershock, so I won't have that anymore. McDonald's wants to go fully AI for taking orders. They're actually doing this in some of the restaurants and benchmarking the success rates about getting rid of people altogether in the ordering process. This is your labor shortage at work. This is $15 minimum wage at work. They're just going to get rid of the people. And some people are okay with that. I mean, I had to order McDonald's at a kiosk when I was at the East Coast last week. And honestly, it wasn't any slower or faster than telling the person at the counter or waiting in line. So I don't know. Also, coming up on the Aftershock, I read a story yesterday. And at first, it was an interesting story to me. It didn't really have a whole lot to do with computers, but it was about how the DIA, which is an intelligence agency in the United States, actually has a Chinese defector and has had a Chinese defector for 3 months. But they wouldn't tell the FBI or the CIA. They're just now, those two organizations are just now finding out about it because the DIA was concerned that the FBI and the CIA were compromised by Chinese spies. And they were not going to allow this guy. And apparently this guy is spilling the beans on the Chinese bioweapons program. And as you're reading all the way down, the very last paragraph of the story says, this could explain some of the administration's recent change of tone on Anthony Fauci. That was the last sentence. And I was like, wait, you have a Chinese defector spilling on Fauci? What's that? So, yeah, we'll talk about that one during the Aftershock. See, it doesn't fit the show, guys, right? But it's really interesting. I thought, hey, that's pretty cool, right? So we're going to talk about that during the Aftershock today. The Aftershock is a little show that we do on Facebook after the program, facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. I know some of you don't do Facebook. I know that's an issue. So we do post the video of the Aftershock on Monday. We post it to YouTube as well as Rumble at SchrockInnovations.com, so you can watch the video there if you can't watch it live. 888-250-2091. Terry, welcome to the program. How can I help you today on Compute This?
Hello?
Hi, Terry. How are you?
Fine. This is Gary.
Oh, Gary.
Terry will work today.
I apologize,
Terry
Gary.
will
Sorry
work
about
today. Okay. Got a question. I'm swapping out my 256 gigabyte SSD for a 2 terabyte.
Nice.
And I'm going to load a couple large. Actually, I'm doing it because I've got one large flight simulator residing in this SSD, which is also along with my operating system and several other support software pieces, and so it's just about filled up.
Okay.
So my question is, when I do this, I also want to get some other simulators too. Should I build a separate partitions for each large piece of software while I'm doing this, or should I just leave it all in one big pot, if you will, and have separate folders?
Well, it's personal preference. You don't gain anything by separating it off into partitions. Back in the old days, a lot of people, they had a data partition, they had an operating system partition. The idea being there, if you had to wipe and reinstall your whole operating system, then you wouldn't lose your data. Well, that's still true. If you wiped and reinstalled everything, you'd lose your data. Now, the way that computers hold data, they hold all the important data information in a user directory, which makes it really easy to back things up. Which is why when we do our data transfers at Schrock, we're able to transfer settings and wallpapers and all kinds of stuff, and installed printers and things like that, because all the data for them is saved in the user folder. Now, if you do partition that hard drive into several rooms, so think about it like a big warehouse, and you can put drywall walls and partition off a warehouse into 4 smaller warehouses. If the overall building catches on fire, all 4 of your smaller partitions are going to burn to the ground just the same. So if your hard drive fails, having separate partitions doesn't do anything to help that. They're still going to fail just the same. So it doesn't really gain you anything, but it doesn't hurt either. So if you're somebody who prefers to have things organized by different drive letter, and that's important to you, then that's great. The other thing, though, you have to keep in mind is when you install a program, no matter where you tell the program to install, it's still going to shotgun files onto the C drive and edit the registry to point to the D drive or the E drive. So you're still going to get some representation on the C drive. If you lose your C drive, you're still not going to have an operable program. So it really, like I said, it doesn't gain you anything unless you want just the visual clarity of having different partitions for everything.
I don't need the visual clarity. I just want it to run smoothly.
Yep. Then I would just do it the easy way.
What's that?
Just do it the easy way then.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hey, no problem, Gary. Thanks for staying on the line there. And we do have you in the drawing for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate as well. 888-250-2091. Going to get to this story about something new coming to Windows 10 here in just a moment. But first, earlier in the program, I mentioned steps you can take to help protect yourself from ransomware. And I kind of rattled off a bunch of bullet points. I didn't really go into any details on that. The antivirus is pretty self-explanatory. One of the things that this week popped up in one of my technicians actually sent me a message about it, and I looked into it. Norton LifeLock has a new feature. Now, you might think this new feature is designed to keep you safe because it's Norton LifeLock. Maybe it's intended to protect your privacy because it's Norton LifeLock. Maybe it's designed to in some way keep you safe, but it's Norton LifeLock. They're allowing you to mine Ethereum using your antivirus program on your computer now. That's right. Your computer can mine cryptocurrency using your antivirus software. One of the most virus-laden industries on the planet is teaming up with antivirus provider to allow you to mine Ethereum in a safe way. There's no details. We don't know if I'm sure they're taking a cut. We don't know how much the cut is. We don't know if you can move your coins out. What happens if you abandon your Norton LifeLock account? Do you lose access to your Ethereum? Is this a subscription retention ploy? Nobody knows. But they're testing this out, and it just seemed it was the dumbest thing ever. It's like when you see a company that is, it would be like if Tesla suddenly decided that they were going to become carrot farmers. It has nothing to do with what they do. They're like, yeah, we're digging a lot of rare earth, and we figured while we're turning soil, we better plant some carrots. It makes no sense. unless there's some problem with your core business concept and you're trying to diversify to open up other markets, well, then it makes a lot of sense. So it was just an interesting thing to see an antivirus company. If you are using Norton LifeLock, I would recommend you don't use it to mine Ethereum. If you want to mine Ethereum, there's lots of ways you can do that without having to rely on a sketchy third-party company to do it for you. And when I say sketchy, I'm not making a value judgment on their ability to protect your personal information or things like that. I will tell you that I don't have a lot of faith in their antivirus component. However, with that said, when I say sketchy, I mean if you're going to release a feature like that, you need to release the details. You need to tell people if you're taking a cut, where their wallet is held. What do you own your private keys? It's like they jumped into this and they have no idea what they're doing. So that's why I said it seems sketchy. It's nothing that I would jump into myself. But with all that said, there's another program called Secure Updater that I mentioned. Secure Updater is a program that silently and automatically installs third-party updates on your computer. For example, this morning I sat down to do the radio show, and I haven't opened my laptop for a week since the last show. I open up the laptop, Secure Updater fires off because it's been more than 8 hours, and guess what? There's a bunch of programs that have been updated in the last week. Secure Updater goes through and downloads and installs all these programs, things like my Adobe Reader update and my Zoom update, my Dropbox update, and all these programs that you don't think to update on your own. And now, without me even having to do anything, I have all the latest patches and I'm ready and safe and ready to go. That's what Secure Updater does, and it does it for about $2 a month. So it's $25 a year to renew it. It's pretty affordable. So you can check it out for free if you go to secureupdater.com. Now, this is a Schrock property. You can go to secureupdater.com, download a free trial. You don't have to put in your credit card or anything. Give it a try. If you like it, you can subscribe to it. If you don't, hey, thanks for trying it. It's a good product, and I think it's going to help keep your computer safe. 888-250-2091. June 24th is an important day. Microsoft is releasing the first peek at what is to come after Windows 10. I don't think they're actually releasing the software itself on the 24th, but they are having a public virtual event where you'll be able to see what, for lack of a better term, and to keep everything consistent, Windows 11 is. I don't know that they're going to call it Windows 11. They may just call it Windows. But Windows 10 is going to have it's already in the pipeline. There is going to be a 2.1H2 update in the fall that's going to completely change your interface. And that's the same interface that this new Windows 10 or Windows 11 is going to be using as well. So if you watch this live update on the 24th, you'll get a sneak peek into what your computer will look like after you install 2.1H2 in the fall this year. So interesting stuff there going on with Microsoft. Nothing that's going to dramatically impact your computers right now. We don't have any details yet. We don't know if you can upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11 or whatever it's going to be, or if you even need to, or if they're just going to run both versions at the same time and they have different targeted user groups. We have no idea yet. All those questions should be answered on June 24th. 888-250-2091. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Android malware is infecting phones. So we're going to tell you what to watch out for, best practices so you don't get infected, coming up next on Compute This.
Schrock Innovations Data Recovery Lab saves the data the other guys can't. The next time your hard drive, camera card, or flash drive fails, let Schrock get your data back. Every person listening to this broadcast has either experienced data loss or knows someone who has. When you think about it, you have a lot more data stored in many more places than you'd like to admit. Have you downloaded those videos from your phone, backed up the pictures on your iPad, or even tackled that sometimes daunting task of backing up your entire computer's hard drive? Most people just don't back up their stuff, and that's why Schrock Innovations has one of the most advanced data recovery centers in the Midwest. Equipped with the latest DDI data imaging devices, state-of-the-art custom recovery software, and Omaha's best data recovery technicians, Schrock Innovations has a 96.8% success rate when recovering data from damaged hard drives, flash drives, camera cards, and more. We all know we should back up our data, but if you are ever caught in a data loss nightmare, call the experts at Schrock Innovations to get your data back right where it belongs, safe and backed up on a stable hard drive. Compute This Pro Tip 578. Technology is constantly changing, so how can you tell when the time has come to recycle your old outdated computer and invest in a new one? Experts have rules of thumb and formulas, but Schrock believes the answer is simple. You should replace your old computer when it can no longer do the things you need in a secure way. For example, you should not be using operating systems like Windows XP or Vista because they're no longer maintained by Microsoft and they're not secure. And if your computer cannot run Windows 10, it's probably time to begin saving for a replacement. If your existing computer requires a repair and that cost is 50% or more of the cost of a new computer, it might be time to consider a replacement. But keep in mind, additional costs like data transfers and important software you have to upgrade like genealogy software or Quicken. And also keep in mind that modern computers are engineered to last 18 months for a normal user. And don't worry, you are considered a normal user. Schrock modular PCs and solid-state laptops are specifically designed to last 4 to 6 years for that same normal user, saving your family money and time. This pro tip brought to you by Schrock Innovations Computer Company.
Alrighty, folks, winding up the show here. Coming up on the final segment of Compute This, 888-250-2091. As I mentioned, stay tuned for the Aftershock coming up at the conclusion of this program on Facebook. Give me about 6 minutes to get everything reset. Then we jump back in again, and we'll talk about all the interesting stories that didn't quite make it on the program today, but some good stuff there to talk about as well. All right, so 888-250-2091 is the number to join us if you want to jump in on the program here at the last minute. We also talked a little bit today about hard drives. That last caller was asking about partitioning drives, and I often use the example of the warehouse that's been subdivided into smaller warehouses, and if the whole thing catches on fire, then your whole warehouse burns down and you lose all your data. It doesn't matter how the drive is partitioned. Well, how do you know if your building's on fire? Obviously, if the computer won't boot, then you know there's a problem. We had a question, a person on Facebook in Des Moines actually yesterday reached out to us over Facebook Messenger and said, hey, you know, she got the thing where she was doing an update and her computer rebooted, and now it's on the recovery screen. The exact thing that Safe Upgrade is supposed to prevent, right? She didn't know about Safe Upgrade. She's not a Schrock customer, though. So she's coming in to us because the Windows 2.1 H1 update bricked her computer, which it does to 20% of the computers it touches. So she's asking, you know, why did this happen to me? And, you know, it could be a bad hard drive. It could be just a botched install. It could be drivers that are incompatible. It could be a piece of hardware that's not compatible. There's a lot of reasons it can happen, and we won't know until we look at it. So one of the things that you can do to help keep tabs on what's what with your computer is to install a program made by Schrock Innovations called Drive Advisor. Drive Advisor is 100% free. There are no ads. It is not ad supported. We don't sell your data to anybody. There is literally no revenue model. They call this goodwill in the industry, in the marketing business, guys. What we're doing here is we're giving you something for free so that when you do have a problem, we are top of mind when you need help. And maybe you'll come back and support our business because we helped you out for free in the past. That's the whole push behind Drive Advisor. What it does is it just monitors the health of your hard drive. Every hard drive has what's called SMART reporting capabilities. SMART is an acronym. Basically, it just tells the computer whether or not the hard drive has ever had problems in the past. This is the quick test. This is a snap test you can do of a hard drive at any time. If it's had problems in the past, therefore we can make a predictive model about how many problems it's going to have in the future, and we can project a health factor for the hard drive. A 100% healthy hard drive has never had a problem and is expected to continue working forward at full capacity. Most hard drives don't just up and die. Now, of course, if there's an event, like you drop it off a table, you knock it over, stuff like that, you pour water, you dunk it in the bathtub, yeah, that's going to just kill it instantly, right? And sometimes hard drives do have catastrophic sudden failures, right? But most of the time they don't. Most of the time it's a slow process that happens over a period of time, which is why your warranties are so limited when you buy from third-party computer makers like HP, Dell, or Lenovo. They really restrict the hard drive warranty to be if the computer can't function with the hard drive, then they'll replace it. But if we test your hard drive and we say, hey, your hard drive's going bad, or you have Drive Advisor and you notice on your HP your hard drive is going bad, unless your computer is exhibiting symptoms, those companies won't replace the drive. That's where Schrock comes in. We can make sure you get that drive replaced under the warranty. We have ways of making this happen, but we'll get your computer, your hard drive covered under the warranty so that way you end up with a whole computer while you're still under the warranty term. If you have a Schrock-built computer like a modular desktop or a solid-state laptop, if we see one of your hard drives is failing, we actually pick up the phone and call you and say, yo, you have a hard drive that's failing, and guess what? You have a warranty. You can get that into us. We'll replace that for you same day and get it back to you. Clone your data over, the whole bit. That's why we want to catch it early, because when we catch it early, we can do something about it to prevent the problem from getting into a data recovery lab, or worse, losing information that's important to you later on. So, of course, we always recommend you have a backup, but you know that backup hard drives die too? And there's not a good time to find out you have a bad hard drive, but it's really bad timing to find out your backup hard drive has been bad for 6 months when your main hard drive fails. That's a really rough time to learn that lesson. So Drive Advisor monitors your external hard drives too. So Drive Advisor is a free program. You can download it at driveadvisor.com. Advise ER because it's made in America. Driveadvisor.com. Download it, install it on your computer. It's made by Schrock. No other software in there from any other company. Not stealing any information to sell to Santa Claus or anybody else. All we're trying to do is monitor your hard drives and let you know when you have a failure in progress. 888-250-2091. Android malware is infecting more phones now. And it's only a matter of time until this continues to happen to Apple. We've already seen vulnerabilities in the iPhone operating system. That's why they release security patches, guys. Same thing happens to Android, and they release security patches for those too. But there's new Android Trojan malware that's using fake apps to infect smartphones and steal bank details. Now, normally, this whole story boils down to don't install apps from third-party stores. Don't go online and try to find the free version of the app you normally have to pay for and download it from Sergey's Emporium, okay? That's bad. Don't do that. That's how you get infections on your phone, right? But what if you want to download, let's say you keep hearing Thor talk about this Sophos antivirus, and you're going to try to do it yourself because you want to be your own network administrator. It's a flipping nightmare, let me tell you what. But you want to do it yourself. So you go down and you type in S-O-F-A-S, Sofas. That's what he said on the radio. And you hit search, and you find the Sofas app. Yay, right? Security for your phone and computer. That must have been what that Shamrock Invocations guy was talking about. You click on it. You download it on your phone, and you feel super safe and secure. But it's really a virus. But the only thing that this virus does, you have to give it permissions, right? It's a security program. It's got to have permissions for everything. So you grant it full permission for everything. And so now it's going to pop up ads on your phone recommending other apps. And at some point, you're going to tap on one of those ads, intentionally or accidentally. And it's going to automatically download the app from a third-party app store on your phone. You didn't even do it yourself. Then once that app is on your phone, it throws up a picture on the screen that says your phone has been infected by a malicious app. And you're thinking, I just did install that Sofa's security software. That must be doing its job. I had no idea I was infected. Click this link to fix it. Well, hot dang. I know Thor said never click a link in an email, but this link ain't no email. It's on my screen. Click. Guess what? You just infected your phone. Now, it seems like a convoluted way to get infected, right? You have to get infected to really get infected. But by breaking it up into several steps, the makers of the malware have made it incredibly difficult to stop it. So if the Sophos antivirus gets clipped from the Google store, guess what? Now we have Norton LifeLock. Yay, there we go. That's just like that Norton LifeLock where you can mine Ethereum on your phone, I think. It's pretty cool, right? No, you can't do that. But anyway, somebody's going to try. You wouldn't want to do that. So anyway, you get the idea, guys. So make sure when you are downloading items in your phone, it's a good idea once every 6 months. You know, you're supposed to change your smoke detector batteries every 6 months, right? Supposed to. We never do. We always wait for that beep in the middle of the night, don't you? But you're supposed to change them every 6 months. When you're changing those batteries, take a moment to go through your phone. And there's going to be that app you downloaded for the grandkid that one time when you were on the plane and they were screaming and hollering. They wanted the strawberry shortcake, Razzleberry Pete, download your Bake Your Cake app or whatever. So you put it on your phone. And you haven't played that. I mean, maybe you have, but you haven't played that app since then, right? Why do you still have that on your phone? Just remove it. The app that you haven't played in years, you're probably not going to play. Just remove the apps you're not using. And it helps keep your phone secure. So The tapping of links is not, you should never trust a link anymore, ever, 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 ever. Now, if you ask me for a link and I send you an email and it has a link in it, and the link is not like a hyperlink that says, Sergey's Emporium, it's a link that says like www.schrockinnovation.com. Then you hover over it and it tells you it's going to take you to schrockinnovations.com, not shamrockinvocations.com, but schrockinnovations.com. And you click on that link because you asked me for the link and I immediately sent you the link while we're on the phone together. You see how that could be a secure, safe link? But I'm going to tell you, when my dad was alive, scammers called his house and said, hey, there's a problem. Your IP address is infected. And my dad said, well, he knew that we had, a Venezuelan working for us. He goes, maybe this guy with the accent is the Venezuelan. I don't know. And so he said, well, are you with Schrock? And they said, yeah, we're with Schrock. So you see how easy it is for somebody to get scammed? So you can't give them anything, guys. Otherwise, you're going to get calls about your new car warranty expiring forever. It's going to be awful. All right. So last call for questions, guys, 888-250-2091. Make sure to join us for the Aftershock here coming up as long as my voice allows. I apologize. I'm getting a little scratchy here toward the end. I've got that summer cold. It's not the Rona going around. So it's going through my whole family. Even little Louie got it the other day or yesterday. His nose started running, and he held his hand away from his nose, and he said, ew, icky. I'm like, yeah, icky, poor kiddo. So everybody got, my son, of course, who's 14, got over it in like a day and a half. And I'm usually the last one to get sick and the first one to get better. I was number 2 to get sick, and I'm going to be number 2 to get better. But I'm just not number 1 anymore. It's just like that 9/11 thing. When did this happen to me? When did I get old, right? Now we're going to have a war on ransomware. It's Joe Biden's war on ransomware. I don't know if we're going to send bombers and stuff, but it's going to be crazy. But anyway, we've got to draw a winner. $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. We had 2 callers. One of them is going to get real lucky. Congratulations, Al. You've got yourself $25 at Schrock Innovations. Addie will get that prepped up and added to your Schrock account for you. She'll give you a call to get the information if she needs it. And we'll get that money into your account so you can spend it on whatever your heart desires. Last day today for the Surge Protector sale. Make sure you check that out, schrockinnovations.com. Click on shop in the top left corner. Click on specials. Right during the radio show, we tend to get real busy, so if the site's a little slow, please bear with me. F5 is your friend to refresh. It'll come around. We're working on getting that resolved. It's a bigger fix than just something quick. So we're going to get that taken care of. But in the meantime, today's the last day to do it. You can call into the service center, purchase them over the phone, do it online, or come in. We're happy to see you anytime, and we'll see you next Sunday for Compute This.
From the Amish Furniture of Nebraska studio, style you'll want,